Now, from Hollywood, romance. Romance on a college campus. If that conjures up a picture of young love holding hands by ivy-clad walls, or after-hours meetings at the Kissing Rock, forget it. We'll keep the ivy-clad walls, all right, but with a new approach to a campus romance. So now, with Vic Perrin as Professor Charles Ward, we bring you transcribed Kathleen Height's story, The Lesson and the Teacher.
When I looked on it the first time 2 months ago, I was delighted with what I saw. The town was small and old, with a lot of trees and wide streets and comfortable old homes. It was apparent that Elmhurst, the town, would have no reason for being except for Elmhurst, the college. But each seemed to give purpose to the other. And as I say, I was delighted. 2 months ago, I had come here to teach. I had no idea how much I had to learn.
Professor Janney and I always have our coffee here at the table. But if you'd prefer the sitting room, Professor Ward...
Whatever you say, Mrs. Faulkner.
I'm afraid we've become creatures of habit in the 8 years Professor Janney's lived here.
Oh, is it that long? Dear, 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 where does the time go?
Oh, I don't know. But in Elmhurst it goes very pleasantly. I hope you'll find it so, Professor Ward.
I expect to. It's all new and different to me now, but it's what I wanted exactly.
Your coffee, gentlemen.
Oh, thanks. Ever so.
Thank you.
How do you mean, Ward? Elmhurst is exactly what you wanted.
Well, in the first place, it's coeducational.
Is that so important to you, Professor Ward?
After 3 years in a boys' school, yes, it is. I began to wonder what life outside those walls was like.
And you expect to find that out here at Elmhurst?
I hope to.
Well, Elmhurst is certainly no boys' school. Actually, I call the atmosphere here more like that of a family. One big, happy family. Don't you agree, Mrs. Faulkner?
Rather a close-knit and proud family, I'd say.
Very close-knit.
With a proud family's tradition of good taste, instinctive good taste and behavior.
Oh, I should say that, most certainly.
Believe me, I have no intention of starting any new trends at Elmhurst.
I'll ask you to excuse me now. I'm due at the conference. It's my privilege each year, Professor Ward, to address the freshman women on the subject of our standards here at Elmhurst. I'm happy to be able to tell them that in all our 80-year history, we've had not one breath of scandal. Not one breath, Professor Ward.
Oh, what a good scout she is.
Is she?
Oh, indeed. Indeed she is.
Tell me about her.
Well, you know Faulkner Hall, of course, on the north side of the quad.
Mm-hmm.
Her husband, name for him, that is, he died right after the war. Splendid chap. Quite first-rate. Dean of the college for years.
She went to school here?
Class of 21, summa cum laude in English. That's your field, isn't it?
In a less impressive way.
Miles' library. Her father.
Oh?
The Elmhurst traditions are steeped in Faulkner's, and Mrs. Faulkner is steeped in Elmhurst.
I offended her, didn't I?
I think she would have preferred a higher purpose for your coming to Elmhurst, something above, beyond the fact that we're a coeducational institution.
I came here to teach. I supposed that was obvious.
Well, you'll have all year to show Mrs. Faulkner what cloth you're cut from. You'll measure up. You'll see.
My own confidence didn't match Janney's. Not that I didn't want to measure up. I did. Despite its provincialism, Elmhurst enjoys a fine academic standing. My career was young. I was just starting, really. I might find Mrs. Faulkner a little stuffy, but I knew I'd better get along with her. Summa cum laude. For that reason, I can wish that the afternoon a few weeks later had not happened at all. I was in my office grading papers. Come in.
Professor Ward?
Yes? Oh, it's Miss Owen, isn't it?
Emily Owen. But you're busy, aren't you?
Not if you'd like to see me. Come in, won't you?
Thank you.
Sit down.
Thank you.
Well, Miss Owen, I've just finished grading your English exam, and I must say...
It was horrible, wasn't it? I know I'm not doing well at all.
It was a perfect paper.
Are you sure?
Let's see if I am. Here. You can see for yourself.
Well, I'll take your word for it, Professor Ward.
You didn't expect to do well?
No. I mean, I'm not used to doing well. I mean, I never know what to expect. Oh, I'm not saying it very well, I guess.
If there's something about the course that's bothering you, Miss Owen, perhaps...
Well, it's like... Well, you knew my name when I came to the door just now. I didn't have to explain or anything. You just knew who I was.
Well, of course I know who you are.
But people don't usually know. Sometimes I think they're noticing me when they smile and all. I think they know who I am. And later I'll meet them all over again and they won't remember me. That's what I mean. I never know what to expect.
I see.
But about the grade, it's wonderful. I'm so pleased.
And so am I.
It's a way to be noticed, isn't it, Professor Ward? If you make good grades, people notice you, don't they? Know who you are, I mean, and all that.
Why, yes. Yes, certainly it is, Miss Owen. But that isn't the full purpose of study and doing well.
Still, you noticed me even before you graded my paper.
Miss Owen...
I'll go now, before I say what I really want to say.
Emily Owen was small, drab-looking generally, sort of beige from head to toe, except for her heavy-rimmed glasses, which gave her an owlish look. Her manner was like her voice, quiet and diffident. Certainly, by college freshman standards, she was no knockout. When I looked up again, she was standing in the doorway.
I had to come back, Professor Ward.
Oh?
I have to say it, no matter what happens.
What is it you have to say?
The very first day when I came to your class, and you looked up and smiled at me. That's when it happened.
Miss Owen, your work in my class has been exceptional.
Professor Ward, I'm in love with you.
Oh, now see here, Miss Owen.
I had to tell you. I feel better now.
Miss Owen, wait a minute.
It's all right. Don't worry about it.
Now, look. Now, Miss Owen, you listen to me.
Something wrong here?
Oh, no, Jenny, nothing's wrong.
We'll just pretend it never happened, Professor Ward.
Pretend? What never happened, Ward?
Nothing. Nothing happened. Janny's mind was reading like a French novel. That was the beginning. For the next weeks, Emily Owen developed a remarkable facility for appearing wherever I went. The lecture hall, the campus bookshop, the library. Even the faculty dining hall at lunchtime was no safe retreat for me. Emily began waiting on table there. Between Janny's knowing expression and Emily's mask of tragedy, I was very nearly driven underground.
Who is it?
Professor Ward, Mrs. Faulkner.
Oh, have you had dinner, Professor Ward?
Yes, I ate early in the faculty dining room.
Well, perhaps you'll join us later for coffee.
Yes, perhaps.
Oh, I'd almost forgot. Mary said you've received she doesn't know how many calls all the afternoon long.
Oh?
Some young lady, she says. Wouldn't leave her name, but Mary says she called repeatedly.
Well, thanks very much.
I Didn't know you were acquainted. Socially, I mean, in Elmhurst, Professor?
I'm not.
Odd she wouldn't leave her name.
Oh, I don't think so. Good evening, Mrs. Faulkner.
Yes, and good evening.
Oh, no.
Please don't be angry. I had to see you. I'm desperate.
We will return to romance and our story, The Lesson and the Teacher, in just a moment. If your children are like many in America, trying to learn in overcrowded, crumbling facilities, you'll have to join your local organizations and make them more effective before the rising tide of deterioration is halted. This year, 30 million school children are crowded into schools fit to house only 20 million. In your community, join parent and teacher groups seeking better schools. And now for the second act of Romance.
She sat there in my big leather chair. Her eyes were great saucers of desperation. Quiet desperation. For Emily Owen was always quiet. I hastily drew the draperies over the windows and led her into the center of the room where no shadows could be cast against them by the light. I locked the door and listened at it for a moment.
You are angry with me. I knew you'd be.
Keep your voice down.
You're talking much louder than I am.
Now listen to me, Miss Owen. You've no right in my rooms. I can't imagine what brought you here, but you must go immediately.
I thought we could talk here. You won't talk to me anywhere else. You won't even look at me.
How did you get in here anyway?
Fire escape. Comes right to your windows, you know.
What if someone saw you?
I don't think anyone did. But I don't care if they did.
You could be expelled for this, Miss Owen.
I don't care. Don't you see? I don't care about anything but you.
Don't say that. Please don't say that, Miss Owen. Now, be reasonable. I could lose my job if anyone found you here.
Oh, I didn't think of that. Honestly, I never thought of it at all.
I believe you. I don't like the idea of it, but I'm afraid you'll have to leave the same way you came. It is safe, the fire escape.
Oh, yes. Perfectly.
Very well, then. Hurry on now.
You don't know how I feel crawling to you this way. You wouldn't send me away if you did. You've never been desperate, have you, Professor?
I am desperate right now. Don't make a sound. Yes?
Just going down to dinner, Ward. Coming?
No, I ate early, thanks, Jenny.
I heard voices. I thought you were playing the radio. Oh, but you don't have a radio, do you, Ward?
No, I was reading aloud, yes. I hope I didn't bother you.
No bother at all. Well, perhaps after dinner?
Yes, say that.
Oh.
He's gone.
I don't like to do this.
Do what?
I don't like to threaten you, but if you won't agree to meet me in 15 minutes in the cove behind Freshman Hall, I'll scream my head off right now.
Miss Owen,
I will. I really will.
I know you will. I can think of a lot of alternatives now, but I couldn't then. So I stole away to the grove behind Freshman Hall, and exactly 15 minutes after Miss Owen slithered down my fire escape into the autumn night. It's a modern miracle that, save for Miss Owen, the grove was deserted.
I don't suppose you'd call me Emily.
I don't suppose I would.
I'm just a problem to you, aren't I? Just a silly youngster who makes straight A's in English. You don't think of me beyond that, do you?
Now, let's try to be sensible about this. You're not in love with me, Miss Owen. Maybe you've got a little crush on me. That's normal enough. It happens a lot of times. But it isn't love. You mustn't think of it that way.
I know it's love.
No, it isn't. You don't know what love is. Not what it is really.
Never had anyone to love before. If that's what you mean.
But you're young. You're so very young. There are a lot of fine youngsters your age right here at Elmhurst.
I've never had anyone to just talk to care about me, to love me.
How old are you?
19. That doesn't tell you anything.
Yes, it does.
I've never had anyone, Professor Ward. I'm all alone. I don't want to sound tragic, but I guess I am tragic. I don't have any family, no friends. I don't have anyone but you.
No family at all?
Mother died when I was born. My father was killed in an accident when I was 3.
I'm sorry, Emily.
Then, one by one, my grandparents died. I have no one of my own. You were kind to me from the first. You smiled, called me by name. I guess I misunderstood it. I'm sorry. And a little ashamed.
I don't know what to say. Except that I'm terribly sorry, Emily. She looked at me rather a long time, and then she disappeared into the grove. I meant it. I was sorry. Emily wasn't in class the next day, or the next, or the next. I asked some of the other girls about her, but no one seemed to know anything. No one, that is, except Mrs. Faulkner. It came up suddenly at dinner 3 evenings after I'd last seen Emily.
Professor Jenny, don't you have a youngster in your class by the name of Owen?
Owen. Osborne. In Oxford, I believe, are the only O's I have.
Emily Owen, I think that's her name.
She was in my freshman English class.
Oh? Really?
What about her?
Well, with no warning, she simply disappeared.
Oh, isn't that odd?
I think it is. Don't you, Professor Ward?
Yes, it would seem to be.
Did you know her well?
She was a good student.
None of the girls in freshman hall seemed to know her very well. They described her as quiet, kept pretty much to herself. They say she wasn't very attractive. Would you agree, Professor Ward?
I wouldn't call her attractive.
Now, why on earth would she just take off all of a sudden? Doesn't anyone know?
The best guesses on the subject are that this Emily Owen was carrying on with one of our professors.
No.
Oh, no one's named any name.
Emily Owen was not carrying on with anyone.
Oh? You seem very sure, Professor Ward.
I am very sure, and I think people ought to spend more time trying to find her and less time speculating about why she left.
People are trying to find her, Professor Ward. Everything's being done that can be done. I talked to her mother myself this morning.
She doesn't have a mother.
Really? Well, someone who calls herself her mother arrived a short time ago at Freshman Hall to get the girl's effects.
Come in, it's unlocked. Hello.
Hello.
Mrs. Owen?
No. Well, that is, yes. I'm sorry. I'm not used to the name. I never use it, you know.
You are Emily's mother.
Yes. Please find something to sit on and excuse this disarray. I'm trying to pack in a hurry, and is something wrong?
I don't know. I'm a little confused. Did she... have you heard anything?
About what?
Emily. Is she... any word where she is?
She's at home.
She's at home?
Mm-hmm. Oh, you must be the one. Oh, of course. Poor dear, no wonder you're confused. What's your name?
Charles Ward. I'm an English professor here.
Mm-hmm. Well, I must say I'm surprised at her taste.
I beg your pardon?
You're, quite attractive.
Thank you, but I...
Much better than the rest. Oh, much better.
Mrs. Owen, or whatever name you use...
Terry. Miss Terry. Miss Sandra Terry.
Oh, well, Miss Terry, I just wanted to be sure Emily was all right and everything.
It doesn't mean anything to you? The name?
What name?
Sandra Terry.
I'm afraid not.
Well, I do believe you're the most refreshing man I've ever met. I'm an actress, a good actress. Broadway, Hollywood, for heaven's sake, even television.
Mm-hmm. Well, as long as Emily's safe and all.
She's safe at home. That's New York. I'll bet you've earned an explanation.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, I don't know where she gets it. But whatever it is and wherever it comes from, it's thoroughly irresistible to her. You see, I travel a lot, out to the coast for a picture, out with a road company. I really never know where I'll be, and it's made Emily's education a sort of a problem.
Yes.
She's been in and out of boarding schools, but now she's getting older. Naturally, she wants to go to college. I don't know. She's running through them so fast.
Running through them?
Mm-hmm. You see, she picks a school, like Elmhurst. Then she picks a professor, like you. Then she goes into her act. Drab clothes, the I'm all alone and unloved bit, a lot of low-key tragedy. Am I right so far?
Yes, so far.
I don't know. She seems to thrive on this turmoil, because once she's played it out, she comes home, breaks out a new set of school catalogs, and starts all over again. Oh, dear, she says she wants to be an actress, but I don't know. That takes a lot of hard work and talent.
She'll qualify.
You really think so?
She works hard. She's got a lot of talent. I know.
I wonder. Oh, Professor, it's not easy raising a daughter. Raising her alone. Her father's been gone, a long time now. I've done what I could, but I can't be both father and mother to her. I do try,
Miss Terry.
Mm?
Remember me? I've had it in spades by an expert.
Oh, have I done something wrong?
I think so. For about 19 years. Her name's Emily.
Well, couldn't we have dinner and talk about it?
I wonder where Emily gets it.
You think it's my fault.
Goodbye, Mrs. Owen. Oh, forgive me. Goodbye, Miss Terry.
Romance is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald with editorial supervision by Het Mannheim. You have heard The Lesson and the Teacher, specially written for romance by Kathleen Height, starring Vic Perrin as Professor Charles Ward. Featured in the cast were Eleanor Tannen, Virginia Christine, John Daner, and Irene Tedrow. This is Hugh Douglas inviting you to hear Romance, transcribed next week at this same time. Tonight, Peter Potter assembles another jury of stars to judge this week's new releases on CBS Radio's Jukebox Jury. Remember, that's tonight on most of these same stations.
Hear the top tunes of rural America on Saturday Night Country Style every week on the CBS Radio Network.